Good afternoon. I just had a briefing with emergency management officials here in Orange County. The storm is here. Hurricane Irma is now impacting our state. South Florida is already experiencing tropical storm force winds, and nearly 25,000 people have already lost power. Hurricane Irma is battering the South Florida and the Florida Keys with dangerous winds and continues to remain a catastrophic and life-threatening major Category 3 storm with winds of 125 miles per hour. This is a deadly major storm, and our state has never seen anything like it. Millions of Floridians will see major hurricane impacts with deadly storm surge and life-threatening winds. There's a serious threat of significant storm surge flooding. There's a serious threat of significant storm surge flooding along the entire west coast of Florida, and this has increased to 15 feet of impact above ground level. 15 feet of impact above ground level. Think about that. 15 feet is devastating and will cover your house. In the Tampa Bay area, the surge is forecasted to be 5 to 8 feet. Think about that. The typical first story is 7 to 10 feet, 5 to 8 feet. This is a life-threatening situation. Remember, the storm surge comes after the wind. Do not think the storm is over when the wind slows down. Local officials will let you know when it's safe. The storm surge will rush in and it could kill you. Here in Orange County, you're under a hurricane warning, and we'll see dangerous and life-threatening wind and torrential rainfall of more than a foot. The rainfall has already started in this area, and the wind will begin tonight. We could also see tornadoes. Please take action to keep your family safe and shelter in place or find shelter now. There is a mandatory evacuation order for mobile homes in Orange County. If you have been ordered to evacuate anywhere in the state, you need to leave right now. Not tonight, not in an hour, now. You are running out of time to make a decision. Evacuations are in place across the state. More than 6.3 million Floridians have been ordered to evacuate. You need to listen to local evacuation orders. I'm a dad and I'm a grandfather. I love my family more than anything, and I cannot imagine life without them. Do not put your life or your family's life at risk. Right now is the right time to do the right thing for your family. School buses are aiding in evacuations. Please take advantage of this service. If you need to leave and are unable to do so for any reason at all, call 1-800-342-3557. I'm sorry, 1-800-342-3557, and we will do everything possible to get you out. Protecting life is our absolute top priority. There will be no resource, there will be no expense that will be spared to protect lives. I urge everyone to check on your neighbors, families, and friends. If you know someone who is not evacuating and should, please contact them and make sure they have a plan to get to safety. But you can't wait to get out. You can't wait until the storm's here. You've got to do it now. Possessions can be replaced. Your house can be replaced. You and your family cannot be replaced. Shelters. We have been working with counties across the state to ensure there are enough shelters. Currently, there are more than 320 shelters open across every county in the path of the storm, and more are opening today. More than 54,000 Floridians have already taken shelter, and there's still room for more. If you have a building and emergency officials ask you to open a shelter, please comply. You will save somebody's life. This is so important to families seeking safety. Everyone in Florida needs to find a safe place to go. Traffic. Evacuation routes are moving, and we have stopped the shoulder driving on I-75 from Wildwood to the Georgia line because traffic is moving. If there's a need to reopen this, FDOT and Highway Safety will do so immediately. Evacuations are not meant to be convenient. They are meant to keep you safe. Check real-time traffic information and evacuation routes at fl511.com. Fuel. We are still aggressively working to keep gas stations open and filled. But this won't last much longer in South Florida because it will be unsafe to be on the roads. While all the fuel ports in Florida are now closed for safety as Irma impacts our state, following the storm, state troopers will resume escorting fuel supply trucks directly to gas stations across the state. I waived Florida motor fuel import tax for 5 days to help bring more fuel to our state for storm response and recovery. This will make our efforts to bring more fuel into our states help us bring more fuel from other states, neighboring states after the storm. We know fuel is important. We're doing everything we can to get more fuel in the state. Florida is prepared. Every single Florida Guardsman that can be deployed has already been deployed to prepare and respond to this storm across the state. We have so many members of our law enforcement that are putting their lives at risk to help Floridians get to a safe place, and they will not stop until it is no longer safe. We cannot thank our Guardsmen, we can't thank our law enforcement, we can't thank any of our first responders enough because they're putting themselves at risk to take care of everybody else. Utility providers, they're actively pre-positioning resources throughout the state and in neighboring states. We all know the importance of getting power back on. We will work aggressively with our utilities to make sure it gets back on as quickly as we can. I want to be clear. We are under a state of emergency. Employees who perform vital services, including healthcare staff, we need you to be there to help your community. Right now, Florida needs 1,000 volunteer nurses to help at our special needs shelters. If you are a nurse, please, and you can volunteer, please email at HELP, helpfl at flhealth.gov. So helpfl at flhealth.gov. You can still email to the prior email address we were using, bprchd preparedness at flhealth.gov. Again, we need nurses. We need nurses for our special needs shelters. We've already received thousands of replies. This is great news, but we're still actively to try to get these individuals to our shelters. We're also going to continue to need volunteers before and after the storm. So many people across the country and across the world have called to offer their prayers and support. I want to thank the governors of the other states that provided every resource we've asked for. I know the entire country is behind us. I've been talking to the White House pretty much every day. I've been talking to FEMA all the time. I talked to Brock Long this morning, FEMA administrator. I've talked to almost every cabinet member, and they're doing everything they can to provide whatever resource they can. We have our country's best first responders ready to help us, and Florida will get through this. If you're in an evacuation zone, you've got to go. You've got to get out now. Get to a safe place. This is a catastrophic storm their state has never seen. Let's remember, we can rebuild your house, you can get your possessions again. We can't rebuild your life, and we can't rebuild your family. Florida is tough, Florida is resilient, Florida is unbreakable. Let's stay together and help each other. You can follow my Twitter account at FLGovScott for life safety messaging and updates in English and Spanish. Florida is an amazing melting pot of loving people, and I'm so proud to be governor of this incredible state. Huracán Irma ya está impactando nuestro estado. Este huracán es muy peligroso. Acuérdense que la vida de usted y su familia es lo más importante. Por favor, tengan cuidado. Cada familia ya debe de estar en un sitio seguro. Para más información, por favor, llamen a 1-800-342-3557. También visite mi cuenta de Twitter a FLGovScott para más información en inglés y español de Huracán Irma. Mi prioridad es que todos ciudadanos, turistas, están seguros y preparados. I'll be glad to answer any questions anybody has. Yes.
I have a question. We're in the middle of the I-4 Ultimate Construction Project, which is obviously a vital corridor here through Central Florida. And driving through there as late yesterday, there are still construction bins full of things that look like they could be projectiles if we get hurricane-strength winds. What's being done to clear those out before it hits the fan?
Sure. The FDOT and everybody that's working on there is working to get all that off the roads before the winds start. We're doing that all across the state. Anybody else?
Governor, Sir, could you give those, I know you were talking about the 1,000 nurses that are needed for the special needs shelters. Would you mind giving that address one more time,
It's
please?
flhelp at flhealth.gov. Let me just make sure. Yeah, it's .gov. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Helpfl at flhealth.gov.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, helpfl. Yeah.
Governor, speaking about those nurses, can you just kind of explain why we need that many nurses?
We have had an unbelievable turnout of special needs individuals coming to our special needs shelters, and I mean it started immediately when I guess it was probably Tuesday morning when I started the messaging, and we started talking about where we're going to open up special needs shelters. The amount of individuals that signed up it's a significant number of individuals. We have a lot of volunteers. I asked for 17,000 volunteers. We have 17,000 volunteers. We're going to need more because this is going to be a devastating storm. But we need nurses at these the special needs shelters. So that's why.
And looking at the state, I know South Florida is expecting to get the brunt of this. When you look at Central Florida, what are you most worried about?
I mean, we're going to get rain, but it's the wind damage. If you go back and look at Charlie, the impact of Charlie, I mean, people think if you're on the coast, it doesn't impact you, but just the wind damage that can come across here. And let's all remember, when I was in the hospital business back when Andrew hit 25 years ago, I evacuated hospitals where I thought it was going to hit. It turned south. It turned south into a hospital I evacuated patients to, and we had to hand vet patients for 10 hours. All the windows blew in. You look at Charlie. Charlie was supposed to come further north, and it changed at the last, both of them, I guess, probably in the last half hour or so. This storm can change. And so everybody's got to understand. You've got to constantly watch this. We have constant updates. The National Hurricane Center gives us really good updates at 11 and 5, and they give updates on top of that. But this is now it's here. We're already seeing the winds in the Keys. I mean, I'm so concerned about what's going to happen in the Keys. How many people might not have evacuated? I mean if we have 10 to 15 foot above land, all right, not above high tide. I mean, that's devastating. I don't know how you survive that. That's why I'm telling everybody, if you're in an evacuation zone, there is no reason you should try to ride this out. I mean, I love my family. I want to be with my family the rest of my life.
Governor, when and if will you open more shelters?
We're continuing to open more shelters. They have the 320 now. We're constantly opening up shelters. We're tracking by county where we need the shelters, but we just had, as an example, Charlotte County, as they had increased their evacuation zones, we had to shut shelters down there and try to move those, and we're moving those individuals north. Because until I guess last night or this morning, I guess it was this morning, they didn't think it was going to go as far inland there. But Charlotte County is very low. Charlie just creamed it, if you remember.
Governor, what would you say to those folks who've been watching the path and have seen it turn and take that sharp westward movement, that are on the East Coast, that are thinking, maybe I don't need to evacuate now, I might be at the beach, but it's hitting the other coast?
Why take a chance? I mean, you shouldn't take a chance. Let's remember, it can turn back just as fast as it turned this way. I mean, there's no, it's what they believe the track is going to be, but just remember, yesterday the track was a little further east, and the day before was a little further east, and so these things move, and so I don't want anybody to take any risk. We're doing everything we can. We have shelters you can go to, but just don't take a risk with your life. I mean, there's people that love you, and so just don't take a risk with your life. Don't take a chance. If this thing, I mean, look at it. If this thing turned east and not that far, it has a much bigger impact on the East Coast, even than what we have. But we're still getting storm surge on the East Coast. It's not as bad as it's going to be on the West. But I mean, the West Coast. I mean, this. Down where I live, 10 to 15 foot of storm surge above ground. I mean, it's devastating. All right, thanks everybody.